used to be an example when our hands are just hanging loose. Are our hands straight out like this, or is it natural that they are curved?
I didn't understand the question.
Sure. When your hands are just
Sure.
naturally by your side, you're not moving at all. You see the position of my hands?
Yes.
All right. Is that just as we walk
I
along,
feel like
that's
he's
just
wearing
the
a
way our
people
hands are,
mask.
right?
Right. That's a neutral position.
Okay. I was looking for the term.
Right.
So a neutral position is, that's why
This
Lego figures
guy's
look like
human
this,
suit
like
is
that.
falling off his face.
Go like
That's what
this,
I was
right?
thinking.
And put your hands on your head. I'll put my hands on my head. Like this. Okay.
Just hanging out.
I don't know what you mean by a Lego
Well, you
figure.
said this is the neutral position, right?
When you said Lego, did you mean like the toy, the
Yeah,
LEGO?
that one, that's where their hands went.
Oh, okay. That's lost on me.
No. All right. But the
On
hands
my
say
planet,
Lego,
we
that
don't have
toy?
Legos.
I've never heard of
straight
them.
out, right?
Right. That's
And they're
extended.
not flexed or clutched,
Right.
right?
Right.
They're a neutral position, so just kind of halfway in between.
Right. Okay.
Right. Now, you would agree that when we looked at the photograph of Mr. Olson's right hand, that the hand in a neutral position would also place the fingers out of the cone of stippling that impregnated his back of his hand and his
Impregnated?
the ulnar area that you called of
That's
the
the
wrist.
radial side.
Radial side, right? So if the hands are in a natural position, the fingers would also be out of the cone, correct?
Well, I wouldn't quite agree with that because in the photograph where I pointed out that the position of the lens and the position of the muzzle were almost the same, you could see the proximal phalanx of the four fingers. They were in view. That was a neutral position. Things tend to assume a neutral position after death, even though there's rigor mortis. So that photograph was a neutral position and there was no stippling on the skin.
All right, so I'm going to use my right hand.
I'm
Here,
gonna use
right?
my right hand.
And you know that the path was front to back, left to right, right?
For the wound path through the torso.
Right, and we have,
Not very much left to right, pretty
Yeah.
much front to back.
okay. But as we move, then this is not going to be exposed, correct?
As you move what?
If you have, everything's dynamic, right? When you're shot,
Life is
it's
change.
a stationary, almost like a picture, right? But if our position can be anywhere before we're shot, so if it's a little bit front to back, a little bit left to right, if the hand is in the neutral position, as you say, then the fingers are not going to be in a position to have the stippling, correct?
Well, the way you have your hand position, it's a neutral position for the fingers, but they would be exposed to gunpowder.
The gunpowder is from here to here, correct?
In the photograph, right.
Okay, and there's nothing on the fingers.
So
Right.
something was either shielding those fingers or they were flexed so that the fingers were not subjected to the gunpowder.
And they could be flexed in the neutral position, could they not?
Well, that's an oxymoron. They're either flexed, extended, or they're in a neutral position.
It's an oxymoron, and you're an actual moron.
Let's talk about in a neutral position. It's also consistent with being in a neutral position, is it not?
What is?
No, he said.
When the person was shot and the stippling that we see is also consistent with the hand being in a neutral position, is it not?
The only way to make it into a neutral position is to have the hand bent so far this way that the fingers are not exposed. And then the wound path across the wrist would then be angled. So it doesn't work.
The wound path is approximately right here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so we have the straight line, right? So we have this that bends, right?
Yes,
All right. So if this is flexing.
You trying to say
and
Chad was gay?
Here,
Yeah. If he had
Here,
weak wrists
here.
like me,
it could be like that and still have the straight path, correct?
no.
that wound on the wrist was actually a little bit at the base of the thumb. So it's, if you bend the wrist, the wound path, that wound, the area where the bullet went, is going to move a little bit. So again, it doesn't work.
I like how Chinless was just like desperately trying to get him to agree. No, his hand might have been in a neutral position, right? No, but it could be. Nope. Well, what about nuh-uh?
And they got lucky. Defense got lucky with that grazing hand wound
Yep.
because it lines up the hand with the body.
And sometimes that's how it goes, right? Like you have that thing and it saves you, or you don't and it doesn't. That was the thing with Rosenbaum, right? Like the fact that he wasn't wearing a shirt allowed some of the stippling to show how close his body was in addition to his hand.
Hey, before they put that skeleton back in storage, I hope that they check to make sure the chin is still there.
He turns around, he's got it taped onto his face.
Your Honor,
Page 11,
what?
15.
What's
You
everyone
remember
looking at?
testifying in a previous hearing?
Yes,
Right? And that time you were placed under oath
yes,
and testified as you have here.
yes.
When we talked about your previous testimony regarding the stippling on the hand, we talked about what you testified to at a previous hearing and what you testified here today. Let me just ask you one or two questions about that topic, okay?
Sure.
So
And
you
I
know
asked you
where
to-
we're going.
And I asked you to look at the transcript so I can see the context and not just the isolated quote.
Maybe your attorney would want to do that. I don't know.
That's not a good answer to
That's a
him.
bad answer.
Statement, you would agree with me now that you've seen that statement or
I would definitely touch on that if I were the defense.
yes, that
And he didn't show him the transcript.
hands,
He just read it to
being
him.
in such a manner so that when the cone actually spreads, it doesn't hit the fingers. That is also consistent with no stippling on the fingers, correct?
Well, first of all, I don't understand the question the way you've constructed it. And secondly, you're referring to testimony in the transcript, which you won't let me look at. So you can repeat it every time if you want, or you can let me look at it. But at this point, I don't remember the wording in it because I can't see it.
Oh, he just wrecked
Read it
him.
to you. It was something about the word.
I
you didn't
read it to
understand.
you.
I read it to you. It was something about.
Me now. I don't remember exactly what the wording of the sentence was.
That was 2017, folks, 5 years ago.
By the way, this is a real easy way to look really bad for no reason.
Here
He-
is that the witness is saying he doesn't remember.
His absolute resistance to show him the transcript is unbelievable.
To present it to Dr. Adams so that he can refresh his recollection. It sounds like that's what we should be doing here.
yeah, every other time.
I'll agree. Go ahead and show it to him.
Do you ask them if they remember? They say no. Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you? Instead, he just represented this is what you said, absent any other context or anything else. It just makes you look untrustworthy before the jury for no discernible gain. Unless you don't have the point. And by the way, guys, that's one of the valuable aspects of hiring a very seasoned expert witness. He knew exactly, he's not a lawyer, but he knew exactly how to make that lawyer look like a douche before the jury. Even if he ultimately ends up being right, it's just a bad look. Because they've seen this, 15 times now in the trial. And this guy may have been in
Well,
the...
it looks like I didn't understand the question as you asked it. And
No,
it's
I
clear
object
at
to
this point.
I object to the witnesses making any statement other than when I ask it.
All right. Fair enough. Ask the question.
I was trying to answer the question as to whether or not he.
I haven't asked the question.
Then what are you doing?
Point, I don't know if there's a question pending. Ask the question again, please.
Did you have a chance to read the statement?
I did. I'd like to have it back so I can refer to it while I answer.
Did you have a chance to read the statement?
I said I did.
All right. And do you agree that's what you said at a previous hearing?
What did he say?
The cone wasn't wide enough, that would be another reason for the stippling not to be on the fingers. That was your testimony at the previous hearing.
It probably was, although,
Excuse me, Judge, that calls for a yes or no. Was it your testimony at the previous hearing?
I did not review this transcript
Excuse
after
me, Judge.
the
All
hearing.
right, all right. Just,
So if we assume the transcript is correct, That's an
just
assumption.
let him answer. Let him answer. Go ahead.
All right.
this is totally dependent on the accuracy of the court report. This isn't like a deposition where I get the chance to review it and make an errata sheet. I have no opportunity to do that. And I had not seen this thing until very recently. So I can't vouch for the correctness of whether this is reported correctly.
What's your hourly fee?
$4.50.
How much are you getting paid to be here today?
Same thing.
$4.50, what, an hour?
Yes.
And how many hours have you been here today?
I got here at noon.
All right, so it's 4 o'clock, $1,600?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
$1,600 in your pocket today. How many hours have you spent
1,800.
on this case prior to coming into this courtroom?
Lawyers
From the
can't do
very
math.
inception,
Yes, sir.
I didn't look at the invoices, so I can't tell you. Recently, just preparing for this trial, it's probably
He's-
about 3 hours.
He's
And
pissed.
since the inception
Yeah.
of this trial, how much have you been paid?
I don't know because, as I just said, I haven't looked at the invoices. I can't answer the question either for time or dollars.
All right, at the previous hearing, you would agree you were there about 4 hours also?
Sounds about right.
And prior to that previous hearing, you also had an opportunity to.
I never.
material And
You always ask these questions, but they don't have the power that you think they would
fill
have.
out your
Everyone in the room is
invoice
getting paid
for,
to be
for that
there.
time.
Yes.
All right. So right now, we're at least at $3,200, another, what? Are we somewhere in the ballpark?
He
of
doesn't
what?
know though.
I don't know. What you say sounds good.
All right.
He already said I didn't look at the
And
invoices.
your
I have no
testimony
idea.
here today is.
I mean, in
don't
theory,
believe
you could
what
pose the same
court
question to the
reporter-
prosecutor, right? Are you being paid to be here today? Yeah.
Court reporter must be wrong and not you. Is that your
No.
testimony?
I didn't say that. I said I can't vouch for the accuracy. If it's accurate, then it looks like I didn't fully comprehend the question as you asked it.
All right, let's talk
Because
about
my
that.
opinions haven't changed.
He tried to
I
talk
wrote
about it and you
this.
got pissed.
All right, well, let's talk about that. At the time of the previous hearing, did you have an opportunity to say, Mr. Martin, I didn't understand that, like you've done a couple times here today?
I did.
All right, and in that particular section, you've read it. Did you say, Mr. Martin, I don't understand that question? You
I didn't
didn't
get-
do that, did you?
I don't think so, but I didn't get the chance to turn the page and see what was on the next page.
Thank you, no further questions.
Redirect?
Thank you, Judge.
Just Let him
just
say
a quick
what-
question on redirect. That guy's a dick, isn't he?
yeah. You know they've just been waiting for him to get done so they can bury him in stupidity.
So pour out an odd bag of bow, more of love rock. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the team, post on Twitter as we hear Lost Painting tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have